My name is Willie Augustine, and I'll be going over the European policy on unwanted fish. The European Union went from the European Economic Community, which was a coalition of 6 different European nations, to the bureaucrats in Brussels under the new Common Fisheries Policy, CFP. Discarding in CFP is basically the returning of unwanted cats, of bycatch, back to the sea. Whether they are dead or alive, most of them are undersized. The fishermen want to keep the bigger, better quality fish. And most of the fishing in EU is done in smaller boats. They're probably doing a makeover right now since they do it every decade. All my references are from 2019 and older. It's all because of market demand. Also, imagine you're on a boat harvesting 3 different species and you catch all your halibut quota. Every other halibut that you catch, you must discard it back to the sea, whether it's dead or alive. The American Association for the Advancement of Science state that TOS consists of as much as 20% of the global cats, but I'm sure it varies. In January 2019, this policy bans this wasteful practice, and there is a belief that it'll boost stocks and improve fishing efficiency, although it will compromise data and probably bring hardship to the industry. Fishermen are still tossing unwanted fish like cod in the background. This campaign started from celebrity chef Hugh Fearnley Whittingstall. Haven't heard of him, but he argued that the EU's quota system meant fishermen were compelled to discard fish that were too young, overfished, or species for which they did not have a quota. And all fish were to be landed to shore. And although fish are still being discarded, and fishermen are also thinking whether it's really worth going out putting all their effort, money into fishing, and because of affordability. Landing obligations. The EU expected more than 28 tons landed as discards in September 2019. Within this policy, all tossings must be recorded, but who knows what the fishermen are actually recording. And on the bright side, other than tossing fish, there are new innovative gear mechanisms where you could avoid other fish and marine stocks. And the best thing I found was this collaborative project called Discardless, which aimed to provide better data collection, discard mitigation strategies, and innovative gear technologies on board and onshore solutions for landed species, and communication of the results to users. Discardless had interviews from all the way to Ireland, pretty much all over the EU. Anyways, these fishermen use different gear for different species, like trawlers and sei netters, gill netters, trammel nets, bottom, deep water hand lines, and long lines. And the 3 most important questions I thought were the issues relating to the fishermen responses to the landing obligation regulations, what they saw as the causes of discarding and the levels of that, methods of mitigating the impacts of the landing obligation in their day-to-day operations. Not all species are mentioned due to time, but haddock and whiting go unused in a cod fishery, and thankfully to innovative gears, there are gears like separator trawls where haddock and whiting can swim upward to avoid being caught. And obviously, crab and lobster can be returned back to the sea, and most likely, more typically, they survive. These are the other species mentioned. They also wanted cameras on board to enforce this, but could not because of privacy issues. Mitigations on Landmark Fisheries Bill. Directly from one of the articles. Quota restrictions and choke species were identified as key drivers of discarding in these countries. A lot of the gear, they increased mesh sizes. That way they are more selective. They also went from long lining to hand lining, which is also more selective and cost effective fishery. And they also try to avoid spawning grounds, and they're constantly moving from stocks and sharing info amongst ships, boats, whatever. These are just the few mitigations that are going on right now. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to email me. Thank you.